The vastness of space had always whispered secrets to humanity. But nothing could have prepared them for what the deep space probes found drifting at the edge of the known galaxy. A silent titan, a starship so colossal it dwarfed entire planets, hovered in the void. Its surface shimmered with an otherworldly iridescence, the hull stretching so far it blurred the boundaries between ship and world. Commander Aidan Clark stared at the live feed in the control room of the Horizon, Earth's flagship exploration vessel. His crew gathered around, breaths held, eyes wide with a mixture of awe and disbelief. "This can't be natural," Aidan murmured. "It's a ship, the size of a planet." The probes had detected the massive structure weeks earlier, but only now had the Horizon arrived close enough to observe the staggering scale firsthand. The ship's outline was a perfect blend of technology and intricate geometric patterns etched into its surface, glowing faintly against the backdrop of stars. Science Officer Lian Xiao ran the scans, her fingers dancing over the console. "Energy readings are stable, but unlike anything we've seen. It's not a planet, not a star, it's alive in some way." Across the galaxy, news of the discovery spread like wildfire. The Galactic Council, an assembly of the most powerful species, convened an emergency session. Some feared these starships were dormant weapons capable of annihilation. Others saw them as relics of an ancient civilization, holding untold knowledge. Ambassador Trell of the Zalari, species known for their caution and wisdom, addressed the council chambers. "If these ships are relics, their creators vanished. For a reason, we must approach with care." Earth's representative, Dr. Elena Ramirez, argued, "We cannot ignore the opportunity. These ships could hold the key to advancements in technology, energy, even space travel beyond our current limits." Diplomatic debates raged. The galaxy was divided between fear and fascination. Back on the Horizon, Aidan prepared a boarding mission. The first human team would step into the unknown to explore the silent giant and uncover its secrets. The team's shuttle detached and slowly approached one of the starship's access point's massive airlocks, the size of city blocks. Inside, the human explorers found vast corridors illuminated by soft, ambient light. The air was breathable, a surprise that hinted at advanced life support systems, still functioning after countless eons. Dr. Ramirez led the team through chamber after chamber, marveling at the alien technology panels that responded to touch and thought. Holographic interfaces projecting star charts from an ancient era, and materials stronger and lighter than anything humanity had developed. Suddenly, the team entered a vast hall where a dormant AI system flickered to life. A holographic figure appeared, an ethereal projection of an alien historian. Its voice calm but imbued with urgency. "You have awakened the guardians of the lost empire," it said. "Our creators vanished in the Great Exodus, but their legacy endures." The revelation sent ripples through the human crew and through transmission to all who followed their mission. The planet-sized starships were not merely vessels, they were homes, fortresses, and archives of a civilization that had spanned the stars long before humanity had taken its first steps off Earth. Yet the hologram also carried a warning. The creators had fled an unknown calamity, and their disappearance was no accident. Commander Clark recorded the encounter for Earth's leaders. "This discovery changes everything," he said quietly. "We must learn from this legacy, but we must be ready. We are not alone." The starship loomed outside the shuttle's viewport, silent reminder that the galaxy was filled with mysteries, and that humanity's journey had only just begun. The Horizon's boarding team returned with a mixture of excitement and caution. The discovery of the dormant AI and the holographic historian had electrified Earth's scientific community and stirred unease across the Galactic Council. Who were the creators of these immense starships? What had caused their mysterious disappearance? And most urgently, what was the unknown calamity the hologram had warned about? Dr. Elena Ramirez stood before the Galactic Council, delivering a report that resonated beyond her words. The technology aboard these ships far surpasses anything in known space. We have only scratched the surface. But the AI's message implies an ancient threat, one that ended a great civilization. This is not just a discovery, it's a call to prepare. The council chambers buzzed with murmurs. The Zolari ambassador Trell leaned forward. We must proceed with extreme caution. The last thing we need is to awaken forces beyond our control. Meanwhile, on the horizon, Commander Aidan Clark and his team prepared for a deeper exploration of the Starship. Their mission was to reactivate the ship's systems and unlock its secrets. But each step forward felt like walking through the echoes of a forgotten age. As the team ventured further, they entered a control nexus, a vast chamber, filled with crystalline interfaces pulsing softly. Thomas Reyes, the ship's lead engineer, approached a central console, marveling at its design. Human tech is primitive compared to this, he said. It's almost alive, responding to our presence. With the help of the AI, which they had begun calling Sentinel, the team activated more of the ship's systems. Slowly, dormant engines powered on, shields shimmered faintly, and navigation arrays aligned with distant stars. But the ship was not just technology, it was a reimaging library of history. Holographic projections unfolded around the team, revealing scenes from the long-lost Empire's golden age. Civilizations thriving among the stars. Starships like these moving as hubs of life and knowledge, and then suddenly scenes of chaos. Invasions, cataclysms, and a desperate evacuation that scattered their people. Alina studied the records. Closely, the creators were forced to abandon everything to escape a cataclysm. The nature of that threat is unclear, but it was powerful enough to erase a civilization that spanned the galaxy. As humanity dug deeper, the AI provided cryptic insights. The threat is beyond comprehension, an entity that consumes worlds and civilizations alike. It waits in the dark and it senses the awakening. Back at the Galactic Council, anxiety grew. Representatives debated how to respond. The humans proposed an initiative to reactivate more starships and share their technology, hoping to build a united front. But not everyone agreed. The Vark, a militaristic species known for their aggressive stance, warned, by stirring these ancient relics, humanity risks inviting doom upon us all. Power like this is a weapon, and weapons breed war. Meanwhile, the Arvani, a secretive and enigmatic race, approached Earth's delegation privately. Their envoy whispered, "Your awakening has echoed beyond your understanding. There are others who watch and wait." Tensions flared as distrust and fear spread. On board the Horizon, the team's bond strengthened. Maya Patel, a pilot gifted with quick instincts and calm under pressure, prepared the ship for test flights using the ancient propulsion systems. "The ship responds to my neural input," she said, amazement in her voice. "It's as if it's waiting for someone worthy." Yet beneath the wonder, a shadow of urgency remained. The team knew their actions might attract the ancient threat the AI warned about. Aidan looked out at the stars, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. "We've opened a door," he said. "Now we must decide whether to step through and face whatever lies beyond." As the Galactic Council scheduled a summit to address the crisis, humanity braced for what might come, a revelation that would test their courage, unity, and resolve. The Galactic Council Summit convened on the neutral space station Elysium, a colossal structure orbiting a shimmering blue star. Delegates from dozens of species gathered, their faces a mixture of curiosity, apprehension, and calculation. Humanity stood at the center of the debate, holding the key to the planet-sized starships and the secrets locked within them. Dr. Elena Ramirez addressed the assembly, her voice calm yet firm. These ships are more than relics. They are the legacy of a civilization that once shaped the Galaxian empire of knowledge, innovation, and power. Their disappearance was not just tragedy. It was a warning. The holographic records shown in the council chamber played scenes from a lost era. Cities of unimaginable scale, starships larger than entire moons, and civilizations connected by fleets that could sustain life for generations. Ambassador Trell nodded thoughtfully. Their technology allowed them to manipulate energy on scales we can barely comprehend. Yet hubris or circumstance led to their downfall. Voices from other delegates rose. The Vark warned, such power belongs to no single species. If humanity intends to claim these ships, it could destabilize the galaxy. Elena responded, we do not seek domination. We seek understanding and cooperation. These ships can be a bridge, not a weapon. Meanwhile, on the horizon, Commander Aidan Clark and his team continued their exploration. The AI Sentinel had guided them to the heart of the starship's data core, a vast repository of knowledge, preserved in crystalline memory banks. Thomas Reyes worked tirelessly, decoding the alien data and adapting it for human use. This technology could revolutionize everything from energy generation to propulsion systems. He said, eyes shining with excitement. But the deeper they delved, the more they uncovered the Empire's last days, a story of desperate battles, internal conflict, and a spreading darkness that consumed entire star systems. Maya Patel watched the holograms with growing unease. It's like they were fighting a shadow they couldn't escape. The AI's cryptic warnings echoed in their minds, an entity that devours civilizations, lurking beyond the stars, waiting for any sign of awakening. As humanity shared their findings with coalition allies, a new faction emerged within the Galactic. Counseled those who believed the ancient empire's power should be preserved and protected, and those who feared it should be sealed away forever. On Earth, public reaction was a mix of wonder and fear. News outlets broadcast images of the starships, sparking debates about humanity's place in the cosmos. Schools introduced new curricula about the ancient empire and the technology rediscovered. Dr. Ramirez addressed a global audience, emphasizing unity and responsibility. This legacy is a gift and a challenge. We must learn from the past, and we must work together to face the future. Meanwhile, back on the starship, the crew made a startling discovery: a dormant chamber sealed and protected by complex defenses. Inside, they found something unexpected: biological archives preserved in stasis. The chamber held living specimens, descendants of the ancient empire's citizens, sleeping, waiting for a time when the galaxy might be safe again. The revelation shocked the team. These were not just machines or data, they were a living legacy. As the AI explained, these are the heirs of a civilization lost to time. Their awakening could bring wisdom, a chaos. Commander Clark faced a difficult choice: awakening. These beings could provide answers and allies, but also risk reigniting old conflicts. Across the galaxy, the ancient starships stirred. The power they contained had awakened hopes and fears alike. And the galaxy held its breath. Humanity had unlocked a door to its future, one that promised greatness and danger in equal measure. The sealed chamber hummed with an eerie silence as the team gathered around. The biostasis pods, each encased in translucent material, glowed faintly under the soft light of the starship's interior. Faces frozen in time, once vibrant beings, now paused between sleep and awakening. Dr. Elena Ramirez approached the controls, her fingers trembling slightly. These are the descendants of the ancient empire's greatest minds, leaders, and explorers. She said their knowledge could unlock everything we've only dreamed of. Commander Aidan Clark weighed the risks carefully. We don't know how they'll react to the galaxy we live in. They might see us as saviors or threats. The Decision was unanimous, but heavy. They would awaken the sleepers. One by one, the pods hissed open, releasing the ancient beings into the world once more. Their eyes flickered open, adjusting to the light and the unfamiliar environment. They moved with grace and purpose. Their memories fragmented, but their intellect intact. The leader among them, a tall figure named Kalen, stepped forward. His voice was calm but commanding. We were cast into stasis to survive the darkness that consumed our world. Now we have been awakened. Tell us what has become of the galaxy. Alina and Aiden exchanged glances. The responsibility of bridging. 2 arrows rested heavily on their shoulders, as the awakened beings reacquainted themselves with the present. They began to share stories of their civilization, their achievements, their philosophies, and their ultimate downfall. They spoke of an entity known as the Devourer cosmic force that consumed stars and swallowed entire fleets. The Devourer is patient and relentless, Kalen explained. It feeds on light, and it has been drawn to the reactivation of our starships. The revelation sent a chill through the human crew. The ancient threat was no longer just a story from the archives, it was real, and it was coming. In response, the Galactic Council intensified efforts to unite against the impending danger. Humanity, armed with the knowledge and technology of the awakened empire, took a leading role in forming a coalition. Yet, not all were convinced. Some species feared that reviving the ancient race might bring more harm than good. Factions opposed to the awakening pushed for isolation and disarmament. The tension culminated in a volatile debate during the Council's emergency session. Ambassador Trell warned, "We must not repeat history. Power unchecked leads to ruin." But, Alina argued, "We have a choice to hide in fear or to stand united. The knowledge we've gained is our best defense." As preparations for defense accelerated, the Horizon's crew worked alongside the awakened beings to integrate ancient technology with human innovations. The starship, once silent, now pulsed with renewed energy, a symbol of hope and resilience. Maya Patel piloted the ship through trial maneuvers, mastering the hybrid controls. "It's like the ship recognizes us," she said with a smile. "We're forging a new bond between past and present." Meanwhile, scientists studied the Devourer's signatures, piecing together its nature. It was a force beyond conventional physics, a dark storm in space that absorbed light and matter indiscriminately as the galaxy braced for confrontation. Whispers spread of other ancient starships beginning to stir, some far beyond human reach, yet echoing the same awakening. Humanity faced a turning point. The legacy they had uncovered was a double-edged sword, offering unparalleled power and knowledge, but also awakening dangers that had lain dormant for millennia. Commander Clark stood on the bridge, looking out at the stars. "We've awoken. A sleeping giant," he said quietly. "Now, we must ensure it fights with us, not against us." The galaxy held its breath, poised between the light of discovery and the shadow of a cosmic storm. The galaxy's pulse quickened. Cross star systems, alarms blared as faint signals from the ancient starships rippled through space. More of these colossal vessels, once silent sentinels of a lost civilization, had begun to stir, responding to the reactivation initiated by humanity. On the horizon, Commander Aiden Clark and his crew raced to understand the growing phenomenon. The awakened beings, led by Kalen, had become invaluable allies, sharing insights into the Empire's technology and history. Yet even they struggled to grasp the full scope of the approaching threat. "The Devourer is not just a force of destruction," Kalen warned during a tense meeting in the ship's command center. "It is a cyclopredator that ensures balance by consuming what becomes too powerful. Our ancestors fought it and lost. Now it turns toward the new light we have kindled." Alina Ramirez pored over data from deep space sensors. "We've detected energy fluctuations near several starships in distant sectors. they're powering up, possibly to confront the Devourer together. The Galactic Council, still divided, but now compelled by urgency, began coordinating defenses. A coalition fleet was forming, drawing ships from diverse species. Humanity's role was central, not only for their pioneering spirit, but for their unexpected access to the ancient technology. However, dissent lingered. The Vark, wary of human influence, continued to push for a hardline stance. We cannot allow humanity to become gatekeepers of this power, their leader declared in a broadcast. The galaxy must remain free of such dominance. Tensions threatened to fracture the fragile alliance. Meanwhile, on board the Horizon, Maya Patel prepared for the first combined fleet exercise, a demonstration of the Starship's capabilities. "If we're going to stand a chance, we need to show strength," she said. The Starship isn't just a weapon, it's a beacon. As the fleet gathered, ancient starships shimmered to life. Their planet-sized frames emitted waves of energy that defied known science shielding. Entire sectors and generating fields that bent light and time itself. In orbit around a distant star, the Coalition's command center buzzed with activity. The galaxy's finest strategists and scientists worked side by side, crafting plans to counter the Devourer's advance. Suddenly, a ripple in space-time tore across the sensors, a warning that the Devourer was nearer than anticipated. Kalen's voice echoed across the bridge of the Horizon. "We do not have much time." In response, humanity accelerated efforts to unlock more of the ancient technology. Thomas Reyes led a team deciphering weapon systems designed to manipulate gravity and energy on unprecedented scales. "It's unlike anything humanity has ever built," Thomas marveled. "But if we use it wisely, we might just survive." The team also discovered archives detailing past battles against the Devourer strategies, sacrifices, and warnings etched in Starship logs and AI memories. But the greatest revelation came from a newly accessed chamber deep within the Starship, a repository, housing a weapon of last resort. A device capable of harnessing the combined energy of multiple starships to create a force, powerful enough to challenge the Devourer. The moral weight of activating such a weapon was heavy. Alina voiced the dilemma during a council meeting. This weapon could save the galaxy, but at what cost? Its power is unpredictable. As debates raged, the Devourer's shadow crept closer. From the edges of known space, entire star systems flickered and dimmed, swallowed by a creeping darkness that defied light and hope. The Galactic Council's fractured unity faced its ultimate test. Would they stand together, embracing the legacy humanity had uncovered, or would fear and suspicion tear them apart, leaving the galaxy vulnerable? Commander Clark watched the stars darken from the Horizon's bridge. "We've awakened a sleeping giant," he said quietly. "Now we must ensure it fights with us, not against us." The gathering storm approached, and the galaxy braced for a confrontation that would decide its fate. The darkness arrived without warning. A silent wave of void swept through the outer rim, swallowing stars and leaving cold emptiness in its wake. Sensors aboard the Horizon flickered as the Devourer's presence grew closer. Its shape an incomprehensible mass of shadows and energy that seemed to absorb reality itself. Commander Aidan Clark stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the encroaching void. "This is it," he said. "The first real test." The Coalition fleet, a diverse assembly of ships from multiple species, prepared for battle. The ancient starships, reawakened by humanity's discoveries, formed a protective perimeter around vulnerable sectors. Their colossal shields shimmered like planetary atmospheres, holding back the darkness with barely a flicker. Kalen and the awakened beings joined the command, offering guidance and expertise. "Our ancestors faced this foe with courage and sacrifice," he said. "We must be ready to do the same." As the Devourer advanced, it unleashed tendrils of dark energies crawling like nightmarish fingers, named to crush and consume. Fleets responded with volleys of energy beams, gravity wells, and experimental weapons powered by the ancient technology. Maya Patel piloted the Horizon through the chaos with precision, weaving between attacks and directing countermeasures. "The ship feels alive," she remarked, "like it knows we're fighting for more than just survival." The battle was unlike anything the galaxy had witnessed. Space warped and twisted under the weight of the conflict. Time seemed to slow and stretch as ancient starships unleashed powers that bent the very fabric of the universe. But the Devourer was relentless. It adapted swiftly, consuming, shielded ships and tearing apart entire squadrons with devastating blasts. Suddenly, the Horizon detected a breach in the defensive perimeter. An enormous tendril pierced a neighboring starship, siphoning energy and threatening to pull it into the void. Emergency response teams assist the Ardent Dawn. Clark commanded. "We're not letting it fall." Teams launched boarding shuttles, moving to sever the tendril and stabilize the starship. The tension was palpable as seconds stretched like hours. Meanwhile, deep within the Horizon, Thomas Reyes and the engineering crew worked furiously to enhance the ship's offensive capabilities. "We need a way to disrupt the Devourer's energy flow," Thomas said. Fingers flying over controls, Alina Ramirez coordinated with scientists across the coalition. "Analyzing the enemy's patterns. It's not just a force of destruction," she said. "It's a predator hunting by sensing power signatures. We have to mask our energy output." The battle raged on, each side pushing to their limits. Ships were lost, but the coalition's resolve held firm. Amidst the conflict, a breakthrough came from the ancient archives. A protocol designed to unite the starship's energy ones, thought too dangerous, offered a way to amplify their shields and weapons exponentially. The Council authorized the activation of the ancient weapon, Kalen and the Awakened. Beings worked with human engineers to initiate the procedure. The starships began to synchronize, their power cores resonating in harmony. On the bridge, Clark felt the shift. "All units, prepare for full power surge. This is our chance." As the combined force unleashed a wave of energy, the Devourer recoiled, its shadowy form momentarily fractured. The galaxy held its breath for a fleeting moment. Light pierced the darkness, but the Devourer was not defeated, was wounded and furious, retreating into the void. It left destruction in its wake, but the coalition fleet had survived. The victory was hard-earned, but it proved something vital: the galaxy could stand united. And the ancient legacy humanity had uncovered was more than just a memory. It was a shield, a weapon, and a hope, as the Horizon limped back to safe space for repairs. Clark reflected on the battle. "We've seen what we face," he said quietly to Alina. "But more importantly, we've seen what we can do together." The galaxy had been shaken, but the storm was far from over. The aftermath of the first strike left scars across the galaxy. Star systems, once vibrant, were now quiet voids, and entire fleets bore the weight of their losses. Yet, amid the darkness, a new resolve began to take hold. The Galactic Council convened once more on the Station Elysium. The halls echoed with debate and uncertainty, but also hope. Representatives from all species, including the once wary Vark, gathered in unprecedented numbers. The lesson of the Devourers might have broken down old barriers. Dr. Alina Ramirez stood before the assembly, her presence commanding. "We have faced a foe unlike any before. Our strength lies not only in technology, but in unity. This is the legacy we must carry forward." Ambassador Trell, representing the Vark, nodded. Solemnly, "Our mistrust has cost lives. It is time to move beyond suspicion and build a future together." The Council passed a resolution to formalize the coalition into a permanent alliance, the Galactic Unity Accord. It would govern shared defense, resource exchange, and technological cooperation. Meanwhile, aboard the Horizon, Commander Aidan Clark and his crew prepared for the next phase. The ancient starships, now awakened and connected through the Accord, were being retrofitted with integrated command systems to allow seamless coordination. Kalen and the awakened beings had become advisors, bridging the gulf between ancient wisdom and modern innovation. Their memories, once fragmented, were slowly returning, enriching humanity's understanding. One night, as Clark walked the corridors of the starship, Kalen approached him quietly. "We have learned much from your people. Your courage and adaptability rekindle hope in our hearts." Clark smiled. "It's a partnership now. We all have a role to play." Back on Earth, the discovery of the ancient starships and the fight against the Devourer had transformed society. New generations were inspired to explore, to innovate, and to unite beyond old divisions. Dr. Ramirez launched a new initiative, the Legacy Project, aimed at preserving and expanding the knowledge recovered from the ancient empire. Scientists and scholars from across the galaxy contributed, working to unlock technologies that could heal worlds, power cities, and protect against future threats. Yet, the threat of the Devourer still loomed. Its presence was felt and distant. Sectors creeping steadily like a shadow at the edge of the universe. The Coalition fleet, now stronger and better coordinated, conducted patrols and early warning operations. They refined their strategies, learning from every encounter. During a training exercise near the Starship Vigilant, Maya Patel demonstrated new maneuvers with the Horizon. Her skill and confidence had grown, and she had become a symbol of hope. "For many, every battle we prepare for," she said, "we do so not just to survive, but to protect the future." The awakened beings shared stories of their past victories and failures, teaching valuable lessons about resilience and sacrifice. One evening, a message arrived from a remote sector on ancient starship had fully awakened, its crew ready to join the Accord. It was a moment of triumph, proof that the legacy of the ancient empire was rising anew. However, even as unity grew, so did the challenges. The Devourer's assaults became more frequent, testing the Coalition's defenses. In a quiet moment, Clark confided in Alina, "We're at the edge of something vast. This isn't just about survival anymore. It's about becoming the guardians of the galaxy." Alina nodded. "And it's a responsibility we must embrace with courage, wisdom, and hope." As the Horizon sailed through the stars, leading the Coalition fleets, the galaxy watched, united in purpose, ready to face whatever darkness came next. The legacy of the ancient empire was no longer buried in silence. It was alive, shining through humanity's courage and the strength of unity. The vast darkness was receding, months after the brutal first encounter. The Coalition fleet, now stronger and more unified than ever, stood ready for the decisive moment. Ancient starships, once dormant relics of a forgotten empire, had become the cornerstone of a new galactic defense. The Devourer's shadow still loomed, but hope pulsed brightly within every ship and every soul. Commander Aidan Clark stood on the bridge of the Horizon, watching as the fleet converged near the outer edge of known space. Signals from the Devourer's approach had intensified. This would be the battle to decide the fate of the galaxy. Status report. Clark ordered .mayapatel.com and focused, responded, "All systems green. The ancient starships have synchronized their power cores. The fleet's shield matrix is holding steady." Kalen stepped beside Clark, his presence both reassuring and somber. "The weapon of last resort is ready," he said. "If this fails, we may have only moments left." The Wapena colossal energy cannon, capable of channeling the combined force of the starships, was humanity's greatest gamble. It represented the legacy of the ancient empire, a final safeguard against annihilation. The Devourer arrived as a tempest of void and malice, an immense storm swallowing light and distorting space itself. Its tendrils lashed out, tearing through defensive lines. But the Coalition fleet held firm. "Engage the weapon," Clark commanded. Energy surged through the networked starships, flowing into the cannon's core. Light exploded outward, piercing the darkness with a brilliant spear of power. The Devourer roared a sound beyond sound. The energy blast struck its heart. For a moment, space seemed to hold its breath. Then, the darkness cracked, fracturing into shimmering shards of light. The beast writhed and faltered, retreating into the void beyond, wounded but alive. Cheers erupted across the fleet, but Clark remained vigilant. "This is not the end," he said quietly. "We've bought time, but the Devourer will return." In the aftermath, the galaxy breathed as one. The Galactic Unity Accord solidified its role, not merely as a temporary alliance, but as a permanent guardian of peace and knowledge. The awakened beings, once lost to time, found purpose in this new age. Kalen, now an ambassador between ancient and modern civilizations, worked alongside humanity to guide the galaxy's future. Alina Ramirez oversaw the Legacy Project's expansion, ensuring that the knowledge of the past would empower generations to come, on Earth and throughout the stars. The story of the Devourer's defeat became a symbol not just of survival, but of what could be achieved when old fears were cast aside in favor of unity and courage. Maya Patel piloted the Horizon, on a course toward new frontiers. "We've seen darkness, but we've also seen light," she said. "Now, it's our turn to explore what lies beyond." Commander Clark stood beside her, eyes on the horizon. "The galaxy is vast," he said. "But together, we're ready." As the Horizon and the fleet sailed into the unknown, the stars themselves seemed to shine brighter, illuminated by the promise of a future forged by humanity and its allies. The ancient starships no longer drifted as silent monuments to a lost past. They were alive with purpose, guardians of a new era. Humanity had discovered power beyond imagining, more importantly, the strength to wield it with wisdom. The galaxy was watching, and it was no longer afraid.